Hi. Preparing live stream. There we go. There we are. Excellent. And let's get you back on screen. Where are you all? Hey. Hey, Wilson. Good timing.
Sorry.
No worries. No worries. So good evening, everybody. This is
it hasn't come off. This meeting is being recorded by the host or participant. What's going on? How do you take it off? It's on our screen. Is it on everyone's screen?
You have to just say got it.
I did. I said got it, and it's still on my screen. I'm going to log out and come back in.
All right then.
Sorry.
No worries.
Hang on. Got it. Yeah, got it. Oh, it's worked. Okay, cool. Sorry.
It's so slick.
Okay.
So good evening, everybody. This is the Wisdom Webinars February 2022 edition. And this evening, I thought we would talk a little bit about, explore the idea of change, how change happens, where change comes from, how we experience change, what we think it is. And I had a question sent to me, which was a brilliant question, which I will address shortly. So I'm going to talk a little bit, first of all, about my thoughts on change, primarily because I'm undergoing a lot of personal change myself at the moment. And so that's had me reflecting about it. And there's a lot of schools of thought about what change is and about how it happens and how it can take a really long time, or how you have to be ready for it, you have to want it, or how you have to sort of make it happen yourself, and how to cope with change. And there's lots and lots of techniques and schools of thoughts around all of that.
Okay.
And the thing that I was exploring recently was, is it simpler than that? Like, how much control over it do we really have? So, for instance, is change something that we have to put up with, or is change just a normal part of life that we only see when it sort of disrupts how we think life should look? In effect, I was watching recently, Will Smith has done a really brilliant planet series where he talks about the planet and he talks about all these different creatures and so on. And he was looking at the deserts, and he was standing in the desert, and we were all looking at the desert because it's on the screen, and it was still, right? The desert was just the desert. All you could see was sand and nothing happening. And then they did, some clever stuff with cameras and whatever, and they showed what's really happening in the desert. And it's crazy. It's literally moving all the time. The sand's moving all the time. There's creatures coming up and going down. There's plants growing. We can't see it, but there's movement and there's change constantly. And I feel as though that's what's actually going on in my life, in our lives, is that there is constant change. Our bodies are changing, our skin, even our organs are all being rebuilt and dying and recreating themselves. Even our eyeballs recreate themselves. So that's always going on. But it appears our perspective is there's some stability, or there's some linear process that's happening. And so when change happens that's quicker than where our perspective has gone, it feels unsettling, it feels unstable. So I wondered if we understand how our experience has been created, can that give us a more grounded feeling during this turbulence? So for me right now, change that I haven't asked for is happening. So we're moving house, and we rent, and the landlord has decided that they want the house, and that's fair enough. You know, it's the landlord's house after all. And we hadn't thought that we were going to move. So all of a sudden, in a moment, we've gone from this is where we live and we've got no plans to move to, oh, now we're moving. And it wasn't our choice. So it felt really unstable. And we've been I've known now for 2 weeks, and we started to look for places, and we started to pack and do all the things that you have to do. But I've been in a real fog. And the fog is because of that unstable feeling of, well, where will we go and what will we do and how will this work out and can we afford this, and all of those queries that come up and all of those things that come up. Now, I know that whatever happens will be whatever happens. What is. And I know that I feel as though things always work out. I've experienced things always work out. But at this very moment, it's horrible. And somebody gave me the analogy that when a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, the caterpillar isn't inside the cocoon with wings and butterfly-ness. It's a caterpillar. And at some point during the transition inside his cocoon, the caterpillar literally turns to mush. It gets completely destroyed and turns to mush, and then evolves and turns into a butterfly and breaks out of the cocoon. But if you open the cocoon during that time, you would just see mush. And she said that she's come to see change or that transition period as being in the mush. So you know I'm going to turn into a butterfly. But at the moment, I'm in the mush. And knowing that makes me feel better about it. Even though I don't actually feel better, I feel like, oh yeah, I am going to turn into the butterfly at some point. This is just the mush. It's the transition period. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's where I'm at with it. It's still an exploration. And of course, we don't know how it's all going to work out. So maybe it won't work out for the best. But I'm I was going to say I'm enjoying being in the mush. I'm not enjoying being in the mush. But what I notice is right now, I'm not in the mush. Right now, because I love doing this with you guys. I love being in this space. My head gets totally cleared of anything, even though I'm talking about it. And I'm not in the mush. I'm feeling good and alive and excited and you know, all good stuff. And isn't that interesting? So I wanted to open it up to any questions and any thoughts or experiences you'd like to share. And if there isn't any, I've got a backup. I've got a backup plan.
That's it, Jacqueline. We can be in the mush. It's our choice, isn't it? It's our choice, just our thinking at that time. And even when we go into the mush, if we can notice it, it certainly can make it lighter where we are. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it has been being aware of the mush has meant that I've put less pressure on myself.
Mm.
So instead of trying to do all the things that I normally do, I've been able to go, I just can't right now. So I need to take some of that off my plate. I need more rest. I need more kindness to myself in my life. So being aware of the mush has enabled me to, instead of fighting it, just go with it. Yeah. So the lightness for me has come from that. Yeah.
Because we don't have, I believe we have some control. We don't have full control, do we, of what's going to happen at the end? So, yeah.
No.
Just trying to relax with what is, I suppose. Well, yeah.
You raise another good, oh, go on, Omar. You raise another good point there. I was thinking about how this is a great time for the beautiful dance between intuition and intellect, between flow and doing. So we are, of course, using loads of intellect to look for somewhere, figure out the finances, plan out the packing, do the cleaning, etc., etc. You know, there's loads and loads of activity and doing. So the question, a question that came to me the other day was that, well, where does flow come in? And the way I see it is that we do what we know to do right now, but we don't know how it's going to turn out. We don't know where we're going to live. But we don't sit around waiting for a sign. We do what we know we can do, and then we sit back again and see where is that. So we go and look at somewhere, or we you know, have a look at properties online and think, shall we look at that? And then we say, actually, let's take some space out. Let's have a day off of that and see what occurs. And there's this sort of dance between us trying to figure it out and control it, and us knowing that actually we don't have control at all, and it'll get figured out along the route.
If I may, is that
of
all
course right?
Yeah. We had a bit of a forced change. It sounds really, it's very nothing like having to move house at a minute's notice, but it was quite revelationary to me looking back at it now, in that all of a sudden, just before, with a couple of days for the football season to start, my son's football club folded, and he'd just been made captain and all this. He was really excited about it, and it was awful. We were in a terrible state thinking about what we were going to do. Anyway, it unfolded quite quickly. The universe unfolded quite quickly, and we were welcomed in open arms with this other team. But we were still a bit sad because this other manager was so good and really nurturing of Johnny. But yeah, great, new team, nice people. And it's been amazing, this team, because he has made the best friends that are really changing his life, you know, and it's opened up some great opportunities for his sixth form, because a lot of them are going to this sixth form that we didn't even know about. So when you look back, you think, well, thank God that happened. Thank heavens we did. And it was supposed to happen. And I'm grateful for the fact that it happened and how wonderful. And but in the moment when it does, you're, you can't see that far, can you? But it's about, and when you're in that mush and you're feeling like your foundations are wobbly and all that, it's just trying to remember to trust the universe, isn't it? And trust in the now, because right now you don't feel in the mush, and that's because right now everything's fine, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and life is just a series of nows, and she says like she knows it all, but that's just my reflection.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. And you're absolutely right, because right now all you can see is this. You can't see the chaos over there. Yeah, I love that, Claire. Yeah. And who's ever known and heard of people who say they got made redundant and they panicked and they worried and, you know, all of that instability that we feel, and then they've said it was the best thing that ever happened because I traveled the world writing, which I've always wanted to do, or whatever it is, you know, it comes about. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I realized that it comes back to again how, can you hear me right? It comes back again to how powerful creators we are. Because I realized that obviously our minds and our brains, we love simplicity. And even like I'm in the same situation as you. So I realized when it comes to certain things, we get comfortable. And we have visions, and you might even have a dream of, yeah, maybe in 10 years I'll be doing that. And all these little things and thoughts of you being in this. And everything you think of from the future is from that comfortability. So now you change that comfortability, you think everything else is going to change, but that's just a thought process. And one thing that was amazing to me is one guy told me a long time ago when I was a kid, and he told me the key trick is to never get comfortable. And I never understood that. And it was only in certain situations I realized that I could just get up and leave because I wasn't comfortable. I was open. And when I was comfortable in something and it capsized for me, and I would always be in my head and, but I pictured me doing this from there and doing that from there and doing whatever. But I realized that it's just because we have those thoughts about it and we've got a state of comfortability. Because it's like, even in my situation, my missus, she's the same. She's comfortable. She wants to be comfortable. She wants to get to the comfortability. And it's like, I realized that I'm comfortable now. I'm comfortable going through what I'm going through. I'm especially the journey I've been on. So it's like the journey I've been on means that I can close my eyes for the rest of this journey because nothing else could be worse than what I've been on. And I've seen what happens when I put it in the hand, when I take it out of here and I stay here. Do you know what I mean? I let this do what it wants, but I stay present. And I've seen what that can do. So my missus, she looks at me like I'm stone cold. She thinks I'm stone cold. She thinks, what? This guy don't care about nothing. Nothing can touch him. Like and sometimes I'll be stressing because my daughter's health and all those things. And other times I'll be like, you know what, babe? I love the fact that we're going through this because we have a lot to explain to our kids. We have a lot to tell them, a lot of experience to give them, because if they had it all nice, and then we went through this, we wouldn't know better. But even if we go through this again, we would have known better. So the experience and all of that, and I feel like, and I've seen her just lighten up. My missus has just lightened up, and it's like, we just battle through all these things, and then they get frustrating moments, but you just realize that, wait, comfortability again, because when you think of a service, you think, okay, this service helps people. So you instantly have created that in your mind solidly without even knowing it. And that's how I say we're such beautiful creators, because when you think of service now, you'd ring a service and you want the service and you think they'll be straightforward and help you, but if they don't, now you're conflicted because you're saying they're not doing what they're meant to be doing when the only person that said that was you and you're thinking. So I think she's even realized that, and it's like, when we don't receive the help that we think we're meant to receive, it's even lighter now. I've seen her do with it light. And then finally we get through to somebody that's human and they're just down to earth and we have a laugh with them and they sort it out quicker than it could have been sorted ever. And that's opened her eyes to see like, wow, like everybody is human. Do you know what I mean? We all create our certain levels of comfortability, boundaries and stuff. But if we truly let that all go, everything is just learning and experience. And to be honest, we are actually the crazy ones thinking every day should be the same, should be comfortable, should be what we want it to be, should be not expecting, this is life, this is nature, this is, do you know what I mean? We should be used to change and adapt to change, and that change could bring about the most beautiful experience ever. But I feel like the more we put our thoughts on the experience, the more we just tarnish it. But the more we leave it as a present to see what the experience has to offer, I think that's when it truly comes to you.
So good. So good. It occurred to me as well that to know all of that helps you so much, because like we went to Milton Keynes today, which was, I don't know, about 40 minutes drive or something, to see some places, and the estate agent never turned up. And of course we waited, and eventually then we call them because you think, okay, well, it doesn't look like they come in. Then she doesn't know. Then we've got to wait some more time. Then we're just waiting, and we just sat in the car in the wind, knowing we've got to get back as well. And eventually we speak to the estate agent, and he's saying, well, I didn't actually confirm it, and so on and so forth. And there was this like little bit of who's right and who's wrong. And what's so cool is to know all of what you just said, and to be able to go, oh, okay, this is just where we're at now, right now. Maybe we weren't meant to see that house right now. Meant that we didn't get cross. It was like a moment, you know. Papa was like, and then he backed off, and he was like, yeah, all right, mate, well, what can we do? And you know, it was all agreed, there'd be another time, whatever. And we drove home and we didn't see the place, but we didn't carry then with us, wow, we went all that way and this and that and this and that. We were just like, oh, okay, well, that was good, because that gave us a chance to recce the area and you know, like, see, is the road all right for me to get to the station, and you know. So we sort of used it as this, oh, well, this was useful because now we've seen this and we've seen that. And you just reminded me that when I think that it should be a certain way, like the estate agent should turn up, because that's what they said they were going to do, and the tenant that's in there at the moment should have let us in, instead of being moody because they're breaking up and they don't want to let people in, and you know. Actually, I'm able to go, well, it shouldn't be like that because it wasn't. So it should be how it is because it is. and it's such a lighter thing. So just thinking about that, what you've just said there, we've been able to drive home and drop that experience and turn it into a positive, and see the positive in it. And then one of the questions, like Papa said, well, now we can't see that for a week, and what about if something else comes up? And I was like, well, then it wasn't meant to be. Yeah, it's just simple, isn't it? And that's what I mean by the dance between the flow and us doing something. Like, we can do something, but actually the willingness to go, we may be shown that isn't where we need to be right now. So you got to follow that. Yeah, nice. Alfie, we never said hi. I just want to say hi to Alfie. And I can see you have your hand up, Elsa.
Hi. Yeah. So I just quickly say something that came up for me when Omar was speaking. So I got absolutely no idea what you were talking about before. It might be completely off tangent, but as soon as Omar was speaking, I just suddenly saw, like, you know, we have ideas about how something should be, like on this phone call or something. But I just saw how I have all these future images, like in the future when, that are almost like these stage sets that I have kind of mapped out. But then it gets even more invested, because then I start hoarding stuff or keeping clothes or things that could be moved out, you know, like, because it's like, well, I need to keep all that stuff because that all belongs to that future stage set that I've got attached to in my mind, you know, when I'm a this or when I'm a that, or when I'm in a house that's like this, I'm going to need that. And it all just makes it more solid and more attached, doesn't it? And then we have all these different, I've got, like, you know, 100 stage sets for my life, and probably none of them are what wants to happen, but I'm so busy being attached to them that the real show that wants to evolve just doesn't kind of have space, does it? And anyway, that was just, I just saw that.
That's perfect, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah. Elsa?
I almost forgot what I'm gonna say, but it's strange because I'm in almost the same situation about economy and housing and absolutely everything, very uncertain. I never thought I would be in this situation, but I loved also what Omar was saying about yeah, how we think about these things. And I almost also forgot that, but there was something he said that reminded me about also how we have this resistance to what is, and that's very interesting for me to see so much resistance I have had to this. But also I just try to feel what I don't try to manage it, what I'm feeling, and I let it be what it is. But I see it's very good learning this, and also I'm seeing that having bad feelings sometimes is not, I don't have to be afraid of that. They can just come and they will go, and next day it's different, or next hour it's just feelings coming from the thinking in the moment. And so yeah, so it has been like this for 6 months now, and it's still gonna be uncertain for a long time. And I live in a house with my friends, and so everything is very different. But actually what a wonderful situation to learn and see what is inside and beliefs I have. And so yeah, so
No.
I don't know if that was what I was gonna say, but that's what came out. So, but I think yeah,
that's lovely. I love that.
Mm.
And you reminded me that when we took a moment, so we've lived where we live for 5.5 years, and we live in like a 300-year-old property that's a lodge on the grounds of a manor house. And we got it, when we moved in, we got it like real, the rent was the same as a flat in Birmingham, like the rent was really cheap. And when we had to move out and we took a moment and, you know, we had a few days to reflect, the thing that Papa came out with was, we've been blessed. And that's what we'll remember. We've been blessed to live here. You know, we've had 5 amazing years, so many memories with the guys, with the team, with so many things, walking through the village, seeing the little alpacas, and, you know, so many amazing memories. And we've actually been blessed, and that's what we'll take away with us. And that changes that shifts the whole perspective then, doesn't it?
See, it's like, imagine doing that with your phone. Because it's like, if you lose your phone tomorrow, you ain't pictured the rest of the week at your phone. Do you know what I mean? So when you lose your phone tomorrow, you're going to go through that feeling of da-da-da-da, but so for some reason, we don't have that feeling, okay, I was blessed to have that phone for 3 months.
Yes.
Onto another phone, or I was blessed to have those contacts for 3 months, onto another. Like, we pick and choose. This is our thinking. We pick and choose which ones are. That's why I love that you said that, because I've thought like that before. Then I've also had I was meant to have that. I was meant to do that. But it's just the way we think about it. And I realized that that's the only thing that we trap ourselves, and it's beautiful. It's nothing to be upset with, or it's nothing to be angry about. It's actually, I think it's all learning to go through. It's all learning to go through. That's why I love that you said that, man, because me, I've appreciated a lot. I've literally appreciated a lot, even like, even people helping me and stuff, you know, people helping me, people looking out for me, all of that. It's like, I've never expected these things, because even like friends, I had one best friend, and when he left, I said, I'm never doing this again. I don't do best friends. I'm not having a best friend no more. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I've never expected certain things. That's why when this guy told me never get comfortable, I thought he didn't want me around. Do you know what I mean? I thought, okay, big older guy don't want me around. But when I look at it, really, that's what helped me through a lot of situations, because I realized that of my mates, I'm probably like the only one that chilled with a lot of people, like a lot of different groups. And most of these groups probably didn't like each other, but I was the cool guy. I chilled with a lot of different groups. And that was because I never really got comfortable. I never got comfortable within a circle, if that made sense. So I never went and put a mask on within a circle. I was always just like, let me stay within me. And at that time, I didn't know that was just me being me. I just knew that I'm not going to get comfortable here. And that probably served me well, because I've been to so many different places doing other different craziness and didn't think twice about it. But I know that with that thinking of, okay, what am I doing here? Am I comfortable? I'm not comfortable. How do I get comfortable? All of that thinking probably wouldn't have done anything I did. But I realized that not getting comfortable is a good thing for me personally. And I wouldn't say for anybody else. For me personally, not getting comfortable is a good thing, because even when I was young, we moved out of an apartment because our house was crap, and I was super comfortable. So for about 2 weeks, I just couldn't see how I'm going to travel from this place back to my old area, meet my old friends and all of that. And I was a bit upset, depressed and all of that. And eventually it worked out. And when I think about that, there's a lot of learning in there, because eventually things work out.
Mm.
So, like, how many times do I have to go through that little depressing moment? And I've been through that a lot of times in my life, where it's like, I thought this was going to be me forever. Then I went to prison and I'm like, oh, bloody hell, new life. But things got better. So it's like, how many times am I going to see that same pattern and not read it? And I feel like that's the beauty of the principles as well, is just reading the patterns. Because if we don't read the patterns, and that's awareness, then we just fall in the same trap that we create.
Mm.
But I feel like with that awareness, once we've created the trap and we've put ourselves in it and we fell over it, we can kind of laugh at ourselves for going through that. Do you know what I mean? Making that whole process.
Yeah. I wonder if for me, I don't mind getting comfortable because I don't mind getting uncomfortable again. So I feel like I can get settled and I can get comfortable and I can let my little imagination future think and think it's all going to work. I can let that happen because it's going to do it anyway. You know, like when you write a bid, you don't write a bid thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to think about what's going to happen if I get this bid. Like, you can't help but be the creator and suddenly think, yeah, it's going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to go there. But I can get comfortable because, like, when the shift happens, like it just did, it means that I can be uncomfortable again for a while, knowing that it doesn't matter, that that's just part of the flow of life. And like you said, that it will all get figured out. Thanks. One way or another. I mean, you know, if we don't do anything, the landlord's going to turn up one day and take the keys off us. Or we'll squat or whatever. But you know, like some things are going to happen. Yeah, because I felt a bit angsty when you said don't get comfortable, because I thought, oh, I'll always be vigilant. I'll always be like thinking about, oh, I can't enjoy this, I can't get comfortable. But my translation of that is actually I don't mind, you know, like when I worked in Onley prison, I got very comfortable there. I had a little office, had little drawers, had little stuff everywhere. Thought that's where I live now, you know, this is my little place. And I'm not there anymore. And it's been harder to leave there than it is to leave my home. I'm only just going, oh, we're not in Onley prison anymore then, because actually we're moving now. So that sort of puts that to bed. Do you know what I mean? And I haven't put that to bed for a very long time. Even though the world is showing me we can't get access to prisons. So yeah, it's
the same with the Bristol bid though. You know, with the Bristol bid, I thought, yeah, Bristol gonna be down there, gonna help these guys, and I just had it all planned out. Do you know what I mean? And then when we had to go for the second round, which is another 6 months or something later, my brain's like, cool, just 6 months. Yeah, we're gonna do that, and we do that. I think we're master creators, so we. To be honest, it's enjoyable at the time. When you think about you creating, yeah, it's enjoyable at the time, you know?
Yeah.
Now if you're not, I feel like if you're not comfortable with getting uncomfortable, do you know what I mean? Then that's just where it is.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say is about comfort. I like being comfortable. You know, I like putting my comfy clothes on when I come in. You look very comfortable now, Omar. You've got a lovely you look very comfortable. You've got a very cozy dressing gown on. You like your comfort, you do. But you know, but it's about, as you just said there, it's about being comfortable with being uncomfortable, isn't it, as well? You know, and now, and I was thinking about what you said about the phone. You know, like in comparison to Jackie having to move home. No, that's a big thing, a big change. So it's almost like you can expect yourself, Jackie, to be in a mush. It's a big thing, yeah? And you will allow yourself to be in a mush because that's a big bit of change, yeah? But what about those tiny, small bits of changes that you don't realise are changes? But they're little niggly bits of changes. And those are the things like losing your phone, like getting caught in a bus lane, like I keep getting caught in bus lanes all the time, you know, things like that, or just little changes that you weren't expecting but aren't really that you don't see them as changes, and then that's when you get irritated and, you know, not perturbed because you don't recognize it as a big change, or you don't allow yourself that time to be kind to yourself because it's not a big change that's going to upset you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like watching your children grow up. My son is 15 going on 16, and there's these incremental little changes that are happening all the time, but it's not, he hasn't all of a sudden become an adult. It's actually, it's very small, you know, and I've just realized listening to you all now that it's really bothering me, his change into an adult. And it's just talking to you now that I've realized that. But it's not a big change, is it? It's not a dramatic.
Nice. But I love that. I love that, because that shows you, oh, actually, yeah, it does, like, it's a bit horrible. Oh, he's changing. Oh, that, you know, the little boy that used to sit on my lap or run up to me or hold my hand, you know, doesn't want to do that anymore. I've got a little boy as well who's 30 now, but yeah, you don't realize change is happening all the time. And then when it does happen, when you do suddenly think, oh yeah, that's why I'm feeling a bit angsty right now, because I don't like that change. Yeah. Caroline? Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, isn't it great how creative we can be to like the meaning we can attach to something, like just a thought, you know? And I'm saying like you, Jacqueline, I'm listening to Omar saying about the uncomfortable, and I'm like, oh, you know, because now I kind of embrace the uncomfortable, even though I might not know the reason why I'm feeling uncomfortable, what that feeling is, but because I think more so now it's like something's going on there and I don't even have to know what it is, but that I might see something about that. You know, it's like I listen like about with Onley, what's happened there, then it's like, okay, you're told to move. It's like, well, wow, is there something going on behind that kind of knew that? And it's like, okay, well, what's next? Show me. You know, I love the estate agent never turned up. I'm so glad I left that career.
Saw your face when I said it.
I know, I mean, even the butterfly, I'm like, whoa, baby. But it's kind of being curious, you know, because again, I see it just like for myself, I see it like a gentle reminder that there's times that I think I am in control of something external. Then some curveball comes in and slices it. And I'm like, okay, no, I'm not. You know, let me see how, I want to see how this is going to show up. What can I see from this? What's fresh from this? Where am I meant to be? It's like, come on then, show me.
Yeah.
You know? And I like that part of it. Because it is, you can look, we can look any time that I thought something was going to go in a certain path, a certain direction, it never does, you know. And I love what you said as well, Jacqueline, how like you kind of do something and then step back and give it space. And I think that's really important as well, isn't it? Because I think any situation, it's very easy to get caught up in the content of it.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Well, you know, I'm a recovering project manager, and so like I'm straight away, I've got the plan and I've got the maps and I've got this and I've got that. We looked at a house the other day and I'd near enough downloaded in my head the floor plan with where the furniture was going to go and everything else, and we're not even going to go there. So I constantly have to draw myself back to, no, it's not ready for that bit yet, but I can do it when it is ready. And so I love that dance now, because in the past I'd have gone full steam ahead, like the house would be packed and then we probably move somewhere. We're definitely going to move somewhere smaller, right? So some of this stuff will be gone and I'll have packed it. So there's, you know, there's that sort of understanding that, yeah, take your hands off the wheel. There's that song, isn't there, that country and western song, Jesus Take the Wheel. And she's driving down a country lane and it's a storm and she's got the baby in the back and there's a terrible storm and she doesn't know where she's going, and she says, Jesus take the wheel, and she gets to safety. So then for the rest of her life, when anything turbulent happens in her life, she says, Jesus, take the wheel, and it all works out. And regardless to the words that I'm using, it is that, isn't it? It's like, oh yeah, oh, hang on a minute, I haven't got the wheel. I just think I have sometimes.
Yeah.
And then when I realize, like, I don't really, actually, I'm there more prepared and more willing to say, what am I being shown here? Even right now, when I'm really uncomfortable with it, that's okay. That's okay. I don't know. I haven't been shown yet. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you know, just literally, I've had an insight even when, like, you're talking. For those of you that don't know, I was an estate agency for 28 years. Okay. Every single person ring up, I want to buy somewhere. You'd ask them, what do you want? And they had this picture, what they wanted to buy. You know, 2 bedrooms, it needs this, da-da. They'd have a whole list and price bracket. When they find somewhere, it was nothing like what they told me. Or they'd managed to find 100 grand has come out of nowhere. Or all of a sudden they've bought somewhere 100 grand cheaper, completely different area. If you ask any single one of them, like, okay, well, you kind of, it would be the feeling.
Yeah.
100%. Every single time it went with the feeling, not what they intellectually thought they should be buying.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. And that's absolutely right. When we were looking for this, we said, we don't, at that point, we didn't even have a list. I don't care where it is. I don't care what it looks like. We knew we needed to be near Onley Prison. But apart from that, I want to know that when we walk in, we can both see ourselves living there. We both feel that this is where we want to be. And we looked at places where I went, oh yeah, I like it. And Papa went, oh, not really. I can't see it. It's like, okay, off the list. And the same, like, we have a list, but we know what we're really looking for is the feeling, is to walk in and go, this is it. And then the list doesn't matter. Yeah.
And you worry that you won't feel that feeling, don't you? I bet.
I don't.
Or do you think, do you know?
I don't. No, I don't. I know that we will.
Cool.
I trust that 100%. Yeah.
In your words, sorry, in your
Okay.
words, sorry, I was going to just simply say, in your words, Jacqueline, enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
That's your words to me.
Yeah.
Enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the journey. Yeah. And like, Wilson's going through the same thing, aren't you? Interestingly.
Do you know what's funny though? It's like this is what I was saying about, I'm not sure how you looked at the word uncomfortable, but I'm happy. Like, I'm excited to go somewhere new. And I'm not sure if it will be the same. It's like, I've had my neighbors for 2 years, and I know their kids, they know my kids. I help them, they help me, but I am not comfortable. Like, oh, we're gonna go. That doesn't hit me no more. I know that bit is, do you know what I mean? I haven't created that bit. I haven't created that, oh, I'm gonna be here and my kids are gonna grow up together, and I don't create that anymore, because I feel like I've been through a lot of that, way too much of that. So it's like, that's when I say, I'm always, once I'm comfortable within me, I'm comfortable anywhere. It doesn't matter where I move. Do you know what I mean? I can move across sea tomorrow to Iraq or I would still be comfortable, because my thinking is not created anymore. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's where I'm at right now. And when I do create that thinking, I'm thinking, shit, how am I going to live there? How am I going to do that? What about my family? What about this? But I understand that when I'm come from that, I can go anywhere and move anywhere, because I haven't got that created. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I loved what Claire was saying about big and small as well, because that is, I don't know how we do it, but we create our scales and we create big, small, medium, sideways, large. And I realized that for me, when it comes to my daughter's health, for me, that's huge. It's huge. There's nothing I can do. So when I start thinking about that and anything around their health and stuff like that, my mind just goes into complete creation mode. But when I'm not, I'm just in that clear state to just move on next. So it's like, even looking for a next house, we're just happy. My missus, she gets a bit frustrated because we call them, half of them are gone, and I just take her away from that, and then we just go back again next day, and then we just ring them up. And we still got old neighbors to go see, because I had another neighbor called Jackie, and I used to talk to her every day. Every time I'm out for a cigarette, she's out for a cigarette. She used to walk her dog, and do you know what I mean? I went and checked her last Christmas as well, gave her some gifts, and it's like, I'm comfortable like that because my mind doesn't do that building. And I realized that it's just love that counts really as well. Do you know what I mean? It's that love and being present and being grateful, like you said, at that moment for that person and that time and being there. And yeah, and I just realized that it's just a journey that's important. Do you know what I mean? The journey, because even if we think that, if I think that I'm waiting to get to a next house to be happy, it's forever going to be like that. Do you know what I mean? It's forever going to be like that. And I realized that it's just right now. I'm happy right now. Do you know what I mean? I'm happy we get another day here on earth, and I'm happy we can do things together and with birthdays and family time. And do you know what I mean? And then another thing is my missus, sometimes she feels so super guilty. Oh, they shouldn't be living like this. Oh, and I understand it, but I'm like, babe, you feeling like that is taking away your present time with them. They don't even know what's going on right now. They're just looking for that present love. So it's like, you can continue to show them that present love while we sort out this mess. You know what I mean? So this becomes apparent sometimes, but not all the time. Do you know what I mean? Not all the time. And I think that's the beauty of it, because we can see how we can take ourselves down into that pit and then back up again, and while learning from it.
Yeah. And one of the things that occurred to us was that I said, well, this is just the next part of the adventure. But when you were talking just then, I saw that, oh yeah, you're always on the adventure. You think
always.
You've arrived somewhere, but actually you're always on the adventure. Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. And if you think that you're going to stop one place and say, do you know what? Yep, stamp here, mark, that's it, I'm staying here. Then it's do you know what I mean? Because even like Claire said, again, I do that with my daughter. I'm like, first I held her with one arm, now it's two arms, now she's hurting my arms. And I'm like, I don't want you to stay here. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm comfortable with you being like this. And then it's when the change comes, you're like, no, I don't want, and then even now, my daughter, I asked her something because she says, oh, sure. And I'm like, like, I don't even say sure. Do you know what I mean? But I'm like, oh, can I have some of that? She's like, what? Sure, Daddy. And I'm like, oh, wow. And it's just like the growth is just, because like with my daughters, I've created that it's impossible type of thing. It's I can't explain it, but I could never picture my daughter talking, and now she's talking. And when she does talk and come with new words and stuff, it blows my head, because I'm just like, I think I ain't created that bit yet. Do you know what I mean? I had the capacity to create that bit. So every time it does happen, there's new things and something else and new things. And she uses the bloody voice control on the phone now to pick her cartoons. It blows my mind. Like, but I feel like that's the beauty of just being present, just witnessing that, and just, yeah, sticking with that, man.
Nice. How's everyone else doing? People who haven't spoken, do you have any questions or thoughts to share?
Hello.
Omar, you blow my mind. You're so funny. It's cute. Very cute. The way you talk about your kids, the way you put them on Facebook. You're so proud of them. You're so proud of your missus. It's so lovely to hear. Really, so nice. It's not very common. You don't really hear that much of men talking so much about their kids and their missus like you do. But maybe I'm just not around that kind of men like you that have been through so much like you have. I mean, your gratitude to just being a father alone, I can see it so easily. Anyway, Wow. Brilliant topic tonight. Change, comfortability. Wow. Fantastic. Love it. I would share about it, but I don't want to put everyone down, to be honest, because I've never been comfortable. So I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one for me. When you're in a 20-year relationship with an abusive person and you're on eggshells every single day of your life, it's hard to feel comfortable. But change now for me is a good thing. And it's making me respect comfortability now much more than I ever did. So thanks for this discussion tonight. And I'm grateful to be on it. That's all. Thank you.
We're grateful to have you with us. Yeah, very much so. Thank you. Anyone else? We'd love to hear from everyone. Katie?
Yeah, I've got a couple of words going around my head I think might be right from something Sid Banks talked about. Was it infinite possibilities?
Yeah. Nice.
I like that.
Absolutely.
And I've said that to children in my work in schools sometimes, and then I just see their imagination going.
Yeah. Totally. Opens everything up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. I think it's one of my favorite bits of advice to myself when I remember.
It's a great thing, because it's like you just flowered my desert. You just watered my desert, you know, when you said that, because all of a sudden then you're going, yeah, wow, there's infinite possibility. That is mind-blowing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for that. That's really cool. Anne-Marie.
Something Caroline said earlier sort of resonated with me when she was saying, when you have a list of requirements when you wanted to move to a new property. And I've been in my current property 20 years this year, and I never even heard of the area I live in now before I first came to see this property. I was like, Marston Green, where's that? I've never heard of it. And I sort of fell in love with the place. But that's from having no knowledge of it whatsoever. And I just wanted to live there after then. So
yeah,
I had all these other areas that I was looking at, but yeah, that I had heard of, but never even heard of where I ended up living in.
It's so useful to remember those things when we're going through other transitions, because it reminds us that actually, I think that I'm going to, you know, choose the car that I want based on these requirements, choose the man or woman that I want based on these requirements, choose the place that I'm going to live based on these requirements, choose the job based on these requirements. And actually in real life, it doesn't happen that way, that it does end up being the feeling, or you fall in love with an unexpected place that you place, person, car, etc., that you never expected to. And that ends up being, you know, where you're really happy. And if we stick to the list, that's us trying to exert control over something that's uncontrollable and minimizing our potential instead of seeing that there's infinite possibilities. Beautiful reminder, Anne-Marie. Thank you.
Just one other thing, it's just because you reminded me mentioning the car. After I took redundancy, I used some of my redundancy money to get a car, and I had in my head I was going to get a small little car, just a little run around, and I've ended up with the biggest car I've ever had in my entire life.
Because why?
Sorry?
What? Because why?
I don't know. I went to the garage, said I want a small car, and then I got sold this Kia Venga, which is the biggest car I've ever driven. So I don't know how it happened, or to this day I don't know how it happened.
Brilliant.
I like that.
Brilliant. Who else? Oh, sorry, do you want to?
I was going to say one thing as well to what Alfie wrote as well quickly. And I can see how like when I was saying that it kind of looks like that. Don't get stuck and attached. But I feel like even Mama J, because that's kind of how I kind of live my path. And as Mama J says, she gets stuck and attached, but she understands where those attachments are coming from, the thinking and the feeling. And it's like, for me personally as well, there's no such thing as don't. Do you know what I mean? Like don't do, or it's like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, we're all the best teachers for ourselves. So there's no rules or instructions or to-do lists. It's like, it's kind of like you're just out there with a torch and your wisdom, you know?
Yeah.
And whatever happens, your wisdom has got you anyway. So it's just like, your wisdom is like, if you want to think like that, do what you want to do, because I've got you anyway. So it's like where we play with our little minefield of thinking and stuff, but wisdom has us anyway. So it's like, we can either do that or not, because wisdom has us.
Nice. I see Alfie has a hand up, but before I move there, you reminded me about the attachment. Oh yeah, that I've been with Papa 10 years, and before we got together, I was determined that I wouldn't get into another long-term relationship. That's not what I wanted, etc., etc. Anyway, you know, I met him, we fell in love, and we're still together. But there was a time, probably about 5 years ago, and he was sat on one end of the sofa watching football on his laptop, and I was sat on the other end of the sofa doing whatever I was doing. And I suddenly thought about when he dies, and I was thinking about what the funeral was going to be like and how his ex-wife's going to be there and this, and I had this whole story about how terrible it's going to be. And I was sitting there and I was even crying. I even had tears. And I thought, that's why I didn't want to fall in love with someone, because what's the point? They're going to die and it's going to be terrible. And I looked at him. I thought, what am I doing? What? And it was a really blinding example of what we do. We create, we make this story, we live into the story, we feel the feelings, you know, oh, wish I hadn't got attached to him because he's gonna die. And yeah, you know, that is possible. and you know, even likely, but to not have allowed myself the crazy, wonderful time that we've had together in 10 years, to have not had the blessing of that in my life, regardless to the pain that may come if that does happen. Why would I not want to allow that? And why would I bar that from my life? And equally, my friend whose husband died of cancer met someone new, and she wasn't with him for very long, a few years, again, I think about 10 years, and he died of cancer too. And, you know, people were saying it's terrible, the second husband died of cancer and it's terrible. And she said, well, I would have rather have had that time with him than not. And so actually I'm blessed for that. So what are you going to say, Alfie?
Oh, I was just going to say about the house thing, when you were talking about, you know, needing to do lists or plan the furniture or things like that. And I was thinking how easy it is to slip into, oh, I shouldn't do that. But actually, it's almost like that can just happen because whatever's going to happen is the sideline that's going to happen anyway. And sometimes it's like chucking the raw meat to the animal, isn't it? To get, if it keeps your mind busy and thinking it's like, you know, happy planning furniture, then sometimes that can actually just let the rest of the stuff happen that's going to happen anyway, can't it? So it's not even about stopping doing the lists. I mean, like that the lists might stop or they might not stop, but it, you know, we can swing into that other way, can't we? Like, oh, I've got to control it now by not doing the lists. And that's just as much kind of interfering as well, in a way, isn't it?
Absolutely. And
there is no interference.
I've got a whole book dedicated to the move, so it's not that I haven't done the list, because I'm actually enjoying the lists and the planning and the inventory and stuff. So you're absolutely right, there's no do or don't. That helped me, that helped my state of mind to get organized, helped me, because that's just what I do. And so I didn't stop myself from doing that, but I do pause on going too far with that. And too far for me looks like, if I, well, it's just when I know it's too far. Or just when I know that, oh, hang on a minute, there's a lot of things I don't know here, I'm just going to draw back a little bit. But you know, I it's not this book, but I have a big green book downstairs that's all about the move. And I'm loving writing in that book, doing my inventory and doing my planning and doing what am I going to put in my first night box and everything else. But knowing that any planning that I do is made up in this moment, and it may change, and it's okay to scrap that plan or put a line through that page and have a new fresh page with nothing on it.
And that planning is not a reflection of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's who we attack when the plan goes wrong, innit?
Yeah.
But it's not your, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah,
I guess it's staying attuned to that book, helping you stay in alignment, which keeps you open to the flow. And then you get the trigger of, now this book is sending me into overwhelm, which is shutting the door. So it's like you're monitoring your nervous system in a way, aren't you, to help you stay in that aligned place. But through that sort of tool, in a way, it's like an anchor or something.
And that's what I mean by really seeing that dance between the intellect and the flow, allowing myself and my intellect to make the plan and have the book, and you know, it's a symbol, and you know, I've got an idea of using the other blank pages at the end to write memories in and put some pictures in, so that, you know, we've got that as our move book. So it's enjoyable to me, but then absolutely allowing myself to see, oh, actually I can put that tool down right now because take my hands off the wheel. So we've got a couple of minutes left. Anybody want to jump in?
I'll go.
Hey Nadine.
Hello. Yeah, I just really like kind of, especially the endless possibilities?
Infinite possibilities.
Infinite possibilities. Wow, that's even better. And then also, yeah, just this, like, knowing that, like you said about planning, because I'm a planner, I'm really into like trying to control stuff. And like plan it to like every single possible detail. And I feel like it's happening more now, that it's like, oh, it could go like this, but it might go like that, you know, and knowing that, like Omar said, that that's nothing to do with me personally. Do you know what I mean? That it's not about me, and it might even just be a kind of direction in a way, you know, like to go where it feels good and not trying to force stuff in a way. And I think with change especially, sometimes I get a bit stuck, not even realizing that I'm trying to force something because I had a plan. And then if it doesn't go that way, I think it's something to do with me. But when I can be open to both or all possibilities, it's like, oh, maybe it wasn't my plan, but then something else happens, and then something else beautiful comes out of it, you know?
Yeah, Definitely. Amazing. So a quick run around the room. Reflect now on this evening's session and where you are. And just let us have one word that describes how you're feeling, where you are. It doesn't have to be a happy word, any word. Everything is welcome.
Noticing.
Quiet.
Settled.
Calm.
Witnessing.
I'll just say open.
I've got adaptable coming up.
Nice.
Happy.
Accepting.
I'm excited.
I was going to say that as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. I feel excited because I don't know. Yeah, I just feel excited.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I'm just kind of quiet, taking in what have been said. Yeah, it's really nice, I think.
Claire?
Yeah, I'm feeling quite a few things, but I'll just go with reflective right now at this moment.
Beautiful. Amanda?
Settled.
Nice. And Katie has her camera off, so she may not want to speak.
Yeah, not so much. Don't want to, but I just can't identify what I'm feeling. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Thank you for telling us. Thank you, everybody, so much for Wisdom Webinars. And we'll see you next month in March. Lots of love, everybody.
Good luck with your move.
Thank you,
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.